You click to see where Jersey's bubble just popped. Good move. This isn't random. High-end units sat too long on the coast and that excess didn't stay put. It spilled inland. We're counting down 10 cities in a chain reaction. From luxury listings that won't move to starter homes, quietly piling up days on market. By the end, you'll know the telltale signs. Inventory stacking up, price cuts appearing like clockwork, and sellers chasing last year's comps. Don't buy vibes, buy math. And you're not ready for number 3. Before we continue, hit subscribe so you never miss the latest updates. Number 1, Newark. Newark's glow-up looked real. Luxury light units, quartz everything. NYC in 20 minutes, slapped on every flyer. Then the listings started stacking like sneakers on release day. Fresh boxes everywhere. Buyers, not so fresh. Here's the thing. Newark rode the commuter fantasy hard. New rentals near the path, flip-grade rehabs with recessed lights and thin, modern finishes, all priced for the worker who does 2 days in Manhattan and wants the rest of the week in a walk-up with a coffee shop downstairs. It worked until it didn't. But here's the catch. Months of supply kept inching up while sellers clung to 2024 peak asks. Investors who used to pack open houses started ghosting. You could feel the room change. Agents whispered 2 weeks no showings like it was normal. The math turned on people. Wages didn't move, but monthly payments did. Taxes nudged up, insurance climbed. That $3,200 payment became $3,550 with a shrug and a renewal. At that number, the same buyer checks rent and says, "I'll renew and keep my cash." Data tells on it. Days on market stretched in the core zips around downtown and University Heights. New builds began tossing concessions. Free months, reduced deposit, parking tossed in, yet absorption slowed. When a tower along the river waves 2 months free, that's not marketing. That's a smoke signal. Walk downtown and count cranes, then count move-ins. Those numbers do not rhyme. Leasing agents smile wider, but the clipboard shows units sitting. The vibe is amenities tour first, pricing talk later, which is code for will deal. Mechanically, stale high-end inventory drags comps. A few discounted closings reset the top, and mid-tier sellers feel the pull. Suddenly, the $499,000 row house needs to start with a 4.4, then a 4.2. Appraisers notice. They anchor to the new lows and gap coverage gets spicy. Buyers pause. Contracts get retraded. Appraisals come in light. Deals fall out and return at 5% less. Confidence cracks, not with a bang, but with 1,000 tiny emails asking for credits. So the correction shows its face here first. Visible price cuts, concession creep, appraisers calling the shots. And there's a coastal cousin with thicker fees and pricier glass where the same pressure is about to get loud. Number 2, Jersey City. When the doorman buildings start advertising Peloton rooms and still can't fill units, you know it's turning. You walk into a lobby that smells like eucalyptus and new money, and the leasing agent whispers, 2 months free before you even see the pool. Let that sink in. So here's the thing. The waterfront priced itself as Brooklyn Light during the money printing era. Rates were cheap, bonuses were flowing, and the script was simple. Pay a premium for the path, a skyline view, and a dog spa you'll use twice. Listing photos did the heavy lifting. The spreadsheet nodded along. But here's the catch. The fee stack got heavy. HOA dues crept. Insurance spiked. Tax abatements that once made the monthlies cute are now rolling off. At the same time, competing rentals tiptoe around caps. So you get this warped ladder where a newer place with freebies is cheaper than an older condo with a chunky HOA. Chaos pricing. You see it in the tempo. Luxury days on market stretch along Powless Hook and Newport. Price per square foot slides a notch, then another, while inland pockets lag on the way down, like they didn't get the memo yet. Listings linger, then blink with a 5-figure reduction and an apology paragraph about motivated sellers. Cue the concession arms race. Free parking, amenity fees waived, storage included, pet fees forgiven. Absorption still slows. That's not a vibe shift. That's a cash flow problem. When abatements sunset, carrying costs jump like a surprise annual fee on a card you forgot to cancel. It's like a premium gym tossing you more towels while you cancel because the dues doubled. Sellers keep chasing yesterday's comps. Lenders tighten up. Appraisers stare at the latest closed numbers and start writing reality in ink. Appraisal gaps widen, which means buyers ask for credits or they bounce. Investors who once underwrote on rosy rent bumps now fail debt service tests and retreat. Mini payoff. Jersey City just turned the mic up. The glut on the Gold Coast is the loudspeaker telling everyone the party's over. And when that shout echoes, the first to flinch are the working-class neighbor markets that used to live on overflow. Number 3, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was the backup plan that became the main plan, until the spillover tap turned to a drip. When buyers hit fatigue on glossy coast listings, starter homes here took the overflow and ran. 3-bed capes, vinyl-sided colonials near Midtown Elizabeth? They moved if you priced with training wheels and kept inspections light. That era's fading. Now the twist. As waterfront prices soften, fewer people settle for older stock next to port traffic and under flight paths. If you can wait and get closer to the water for less pain, why grab the house that needs a roof and a dehumidifier? The patience game showed up fast in the showing logs. Active listings tick higher in the core zips ringing Midtown. Days on market stretch for those 3-bed capes and colonials that used to be a weekend frenzy. You see 21 days turn to 45, then 60. The listing notes grow longer. The photos don't change. The offers don't arrive. Let's talk payment. Insurance renewals jumped. Taxes crept. The affordable alternative line breaks the second the monthly looks like rent, plus a headache. FHA buyers run into appraisal callouts and lender-required fixes. Handrails, peeling paint, GFCAs, little things that add time and shave confidence. On the ground, a clean listing hits at $449,000. 2 weeks, crickets, drop to $435,000. One low offer, add $10,000 in closing credits just to keep the pre-approval alive. That becomes the comp your neighbor didn't want to hear about. Mechanically, when top-tier prices blink, mid-tier buyers wait for better. They don't chase. That kneecaps the ask strategy that worked all last year. Thin flips catch it first. Gray LVP, white shaker, same faucet set. When comps reset, that margin vanishes. Carry costs eat the rest, so bidding wars fade. Inspection lists stick. Buyers get credits for roofs, boilers, oil tank scans. It feels less like panic and more like patience smothering FOMO one contract at a time. If Elizabeth cools, pay attention to what happens when today's renters become tomorrow's reluctant buyers down the line. Because when monthly math wins, they only move if the deal does. Number 4, Patterson. In Patterson, the flip formula became a meme. Buy the tired 2 family, slap in gray LVP, raise rents, refinance, repeat. Now the spreadsheet just shrugs and says, nah, it's real, it's happening. Here's the thing. Investors chased 2 to 3 families for cash flow, counting on rent growth to bail out thin margins. The play was simple. Value add kitchens and baths, turn over a unit, hike the lease, and let appreciation do the rest. Easy, until vacancy risk, surprise repairs, and slower rent bumps hit at the same time that rates and insurance jumped. But here's the catch. Holding costs climbed while rent growth cooled. One empty unit for 2 months wipes a year of pro forma profit. Roof quotes arrived higher. Electric panels needed upgrades. Insurance carriers re-rated buildings with knob and tube like they were fireworks stands. Meanwhile, more multis hit the market and days on market stretched. You see half-finished value-add projects sitting with open walls and permits in limbo. Mechanics matter. When the risk-free rate is high and rent growth stalls, cap rates widen. To clear the market, prices have to fall. Lenders look at that and get stingier. Deferred maintenance isn't cute anymore. It's a risk line item. Appraisers stop blessing rent rolls that assume fairy tale turns. The optimistic pro forma gets haircut after haircut until the debt service numbers don't work. End users, they skip dated stock. They don't want oil boilers, slanted porches, or tenant issues. Investors, they sharpen pencils and demand bigger discounts, credits, and longer inspection periods. The only offers are lower and loaded with asks. Let's run the typical deal. Purchase at $550,000, 25% down. Taxes, insurance, water, trash, and a 7% plus loan. Put your monthly near what the gross rents used to cover. Toss in one turnover, a $7,000 boiler, and boom. The debt service coverage ratio flops under 1.2. The lender balks. The buyer retrades. Seller drops price, then adds a credit just to keep it alive. Mini payoff. Patterson is in the investor capitulation phase. If the deal doesn't pencil, it dies. Sellers learn the new math, or they sit. And next up is the state capitol. Steady paychecks, sure, but those appraisals and monthlies don't take government holidays. Number 5, Trenton. Trenton looked cheap. That was the pitch. Under $300,000, close to government offices, hops to the River Line and transit. Then lenders started grading on a curve, and the bargain label peeled off fast. Buyers chased value in older stock near State Street and the transit nodes. Brick twins with small yards, row homes with basement laundry, mom-and-pop listings that hadn't changed hands in 30 years. You could squint and see equity. You could also smell the boiler. But here's the catch. Appraisals came in light because comps lagged the listings. The bank didn't care about your Zillow screenshot. It cared about closed sales from the last 90 days and those anchored to pre-peak numbers. Repair escrows ballooned. Old roofs, 60-ampere panels, cast iron drains. Every line item got a dollar sign and a delay. You saw it in contracts, more renegotiations. Seller credits multiplied. FHA and VA deals lit up with repair callouts. Peeling paint, handrails, GFC is, trip hazards. Small stuff, but together they turned timelines into elastic. Deals didn't die from drama, they bled out from addendums. Then the affordability twist hit. Taxes plus insurance shocked the monthly. That under $300,000 story blew up when escrow stuffed your payment like a suitcase. The note was one number. The total was a different beast. Rent started to look sane again. Days on market rose for homes needing systems work. Anything with a roof past its lifespan, a tired boiler, or aluminum wiring sat. Cosmetic lipstick didn't move them. Buyers ran the math and kept the inspection list long. Sellers who wanted as-is learned not at that price. Mechanically, the appraisers became the adults. They anchored to the last clean sale, not your dream. Sellers had two options. Pick reality or relist and ride the carousel. Plenty chose relist. The carousel spun. Prices stepped down. Buyers gained leverage, credit stuck. Price cuts followed. Some deals walked after the second revision because the bank wouldn't stretch, and neither would the buyer. Mini payoff. Trenton's drop is appraisal-led, not vibe-led. The spreadsheets in the loan file set the ceiling, and the market finally listened. Now to a city where the discount was the selling point, until demand thinned faster than supply. Number 6. Camden. Camden's sales pitch used to be dead simple. Cheapest near Philly. You could cross the bridge, keep your payment light, and call it a win. But cheapest isn't a moat when the rest of the rack starts slapping red tags on everything. Buyers who once tolerated long commutes and thin amenities now wait. If the monthly gets you closer to work with fewer trade-offs, you press pause. A longer drive, fewer grocery options, and a fixer roof don't feel worth it when patients might grab a cleaner house 10 minutes nearer to Center City. The I'll settle crowd turns into an I'll wait. Inventory is outpacing qualified demand. You see it street by street, entry-level single families sit longer, and price cuts show up like calendar reminders. Flippers who underwrote aggressive ARVs are stuck paying higher interest, higher insurance, and longer carry. Their margins evaporate every week a contractor ghost or an inspection adds another check to the punch list. Evidence is on the listings. Starter homes hit the market at a hopeful number, then trim again. New rentals near the waterfront dangle concessions. First month free, parking tossed in, app fees waived. Yet the lease-up pace stays slow. Landlords smile for tours and then whisper about move-in specials. That's code for stress. Here's the risk premium nobody wanted to talk about. When alternatives get cheaper, buyers weigh crime perception and school ratings harder. If a nearby zip costs the same or a touch more, many will pick lower perceived risk and stronger schools. That psychology pushes offers down unless the discount is obvious. Mechanically, when adjacent submarkets soften, the risk-adjusted buyer says, "I'll pass unless it's a steal." It's like a sale rack after the entire store just went on sale. A deal only feels like a deal if it clears a new, lower bar. Sellers chase with reductions. A couple of low, clean closes reset comps across blocks. Appraisals follow the new floor. Camden clears at a deeper discount, and that gap to peak widens with every prolonged DOM and every incentive tossed in. Head north to a dense city running on tight ownership benches and even tighter margins, where elevator rides now come with fee shock. Number 7. Passaic. Passaic's secret sauce was simple. Renters became owners. Lease ends pre-approval in hand. Small condo or starter cape? Done. That faucet got sticky. It didn't shut off overnight, it started dripping, then it squeaked, and now you need a wrench. Here's the thing. Dense rental stock kept the place stable for years. Turnover fed the buyer pool and low inventory did the rest. Prices stayed buoyant because a steady stream of renters graduated into ownership. That pipeline made agents cocky and sellers stubborn. It also masked a ton of deferred maintenance. But here's the catch. As coastal prices cool, renters aren't rushing to buy older condos with chunky HOA dues or petite single families that need roofs, siding, and a service panel. If you can rent a bigger, cleaner place with parking and laundry for less than owning a one-bed with paper-thin walls, you rent. No heroics. The data vibe shows it. Days on market creeps up on entry-level condos, the garden-style walk-ups and elevator one-beds that used to move in a weekend. You see a spike in withdrawn and expired listings after 2 or 3 reductions. Sellers try new price in the title. Then they try again. Then they call the landlord. Cost friction is doing the heavy lift. HOA plus insurance plus taxes beat monthly rent in too many cases. The mortgage is just the headline. The fees are the fine print. It's like scoring a cheap plane ticket and then getting wrecked by baggage, seat, and snack charges. Mechanically, the conversion pipeline freezes. Landlords catch on and keep tenants with modest discounts, a fresh coat of paint, or parking space tossed in. Renewal rates climb. Vacancy risk drops, and the MLS gets another condo listing nobody loves. Investors see the writing. Condo investors offload units into a pool that just got smaller. Supply builds right where demand stepped back. The next open house looks different. Sellers who expected 10 offers get 2. Both under ask, both asking for credits and a rate buy down. Mini payoff. Passaic's cooling is demand choice driven. Renting pencils better again. And nearby, where height and density stack on thin ownership benches, stress starts announcing itself inside the elevator, not the driveway. Number 8, Union City. Union City sold you the skyline and the bus lane. The tour was sunset selfies, a latte on the balcony, and 15 minutes to Midtown. Now the headline is a number, the monthly. Let that sink in. Here's the thing. Micro units and mid-rise condos thrived because New York was right there. Small footprints felt fine when access was everything. You paid for the elevator, the roof deck, the glass, and the grid of jitneys flying down Bergen Line. It worked as long as the extras stayed cute. But here's the catch. HOA fees crept. Amenity charges stacked, insurance spiked. That neat little one-bed goes from starter to are we sure? Once the line items hit the total. You don't argue with the monthly. You either make it or you don't. You can feel it in listing language. Price per square foot is sliding in the newer mid-rises. The glossy one-beds sit. Agents throw in a month of HOA or waive amenity move-in fees just to wake up the inbox. Storage locker included. Pet fees forgiven. The incentives read like a menu. Then the transit tax kicks in. If hybrid work chops your commute to 2 days, paying a premium for a bus you ride 8 times a month feels dumb. The math punishes vanity. A view is nice. A lower payment is real. Mechanically, the moment buyers stop paying for the view, comps reset fast. Small unit buildings move in herds. 1 lower closing drags the stack. 2 more and the whole line steps down. It's brutal and it's quick. Local signal? Owners pivot to furnished rentals when the sale at target price won't land. Shorter leases, higher hopes, more turnover. Anything to bridge the gap that the buyer pool won't cross. It's survival math. Lenders aren't blind. Appraisers now load the fee stack into their models. Underwriters stress test debt to income with the HOA front and center. The list price might pass the sniff test. The monthly kills the deal. Mini payoff. Union City's correction is fee-led. The view doesn't carry the note carries you. Next up, a city where inventory does all the talking. No poetry, just stacks on stacks. Number 9, East Orange. Blink and you missed it. East Orange's listings doubled before sellers even refreshed their alerts. 1 week it felt normal, then every block had a new yard sign and a fresh set of wide-angle photos. It's real, it's happening. This corridor thrived as the starter home lane for commuters priced out elsewhere. Small colonials, brick row homes, a driveway if you got lucky, and a 30-minute train if the schedule behaved. You'd stretch for a mortgage because the alternative was a longer ride and a louder street. Simple playbook. But here's the catch. Supply popped fast. Flippers hit the market at the same time landlords decided to exit, and the buyer pool didn't grow with it. Fewer FHA-ready shoppers, more inventory that needs a tape measure, a GFC eye tester, and a checkbook. That's tension you can feel at the first showing. You see the evidence in the portal feeds. Key zip codes show more actives week over week. Price reductions read like standard practice, not strategy. DOM climbs hardest on those vinyl-sided rehabs with fresh paint and the same faucets that you've seen 10 times. A new doorbell doesn't fix a tired panel. The quality gap bites. Cosmetic flips look fine online and fall apart in inspection. Buyers want systems, roofs with life, newer boilers, updated service, clean sewer scopes, no big-ticket items. Then they want a deep discount. Not 1,000, tens of thousands. Mechanically surging supply meets cautious lending, and prices step down to clear. Appraisers stare at the latest closed numbers while underwriters sweat the condition report. List high, close lower, repeat. It's like stair-stepping, but the stairs only go one way. Anecdote you can verify any weekend. Open houses went from lines to lonely. The agent's cookie tray is full at 3 p.m. The sign-in sheet has 3 names. None are writing today. Then the build hits. Appraisal gaps widen. Sellers cover credits for rates, repairs, and closing costs just to stitch deals together. The net is 8 to 10% under the first ask, and that becomes the new comp. Mini payoff. East Orange turns into the poster child. For inventory is destiny. When listings stack, prices bend, and right next door, price cuts turn into a rhythm you can set a calendar to. Number 10. Irvington. In Irvington, you can almost set your watch by the price cut. Week 2, the first trim. Week 4, another slice. Week 6, a bigger bite plus a motivated caption. It feels scripted because it sort of is. Sellers came in hot with last year's dreams. Wishful numbers, glossy photos, and a boiler older than your uncle's Honda. Buyers didn't bring FOMO, they brought calculators. They ran the monthly, they checked taxes, and they side-eyed anything that smelled like a project disguised as a starter. Then the tension hits. FHA buyers bump into condition callouts before the ink dries. Handrails, peeling paint, GFCIs, loose treads, you name it. Conventional buyers use that as leverage and lowball with a smile. Investors, they hang back and wait for the third reduction, then ask for closing credits on top. You can track the cadence. A typical $475,000 list drops to $459,000 at 2 weeks, then $444,900 by week 4. By week 6, the description whispers about a seller-paid rate buy-down and help with closing costs. Those buy-downs pop up more often now because it's the only way to make the monthly look decent without surrendering another $20,000 on the headline. Here's the math that stings. With taxes and insurance up, a $15,000 haircut barely nudges the payment. You're moving a latte, not a car note. So more cuts follow, and the listing ages in public. Each step down teaches the new floor the hard way. Local signal? Homes that used to go pending in 10 days now linger past 45. The open house cookie tray is full after 2 hours because foot traffic slowed to a crawl. Agents stop talking multiple offers and start saying bring terms. Then the stack builds. Inspection credits layer on top of the list cuts. Roofs, boilers, sewer scopes, knob and tube insurance fixes, netting 8 to 12% below the original ask. Appraisers nod because the last 3 closings already paved the way. Mini payoff. Irvington is the clean read of a correction in motion. Mechanical, predictable, relentless. You don't need a headline to see it. The reduction schedule tells the story in real time. You've seen the chain. Now connect the dots. Here's the thing. This wasn't 10 random cooldowns. It was pain migrating inland, one stop at a time. The coast flooded first, then the back streets got wet. Let that sink in. Trace the path with me. Jersey City and Newark jammed up when glossy towers sat and sellers chased 2024 comps. Buyers saw the freebies and said, I'll wait. That pause choked the overflow that used to fuel Elizabeth and Passaic. Mid-tier markets stalled, flips missed their marks, and by the time inventory hit East Orange and Irvington, entry-level pricing had to blink. Rinse, repeat. People still swear, NYC Overflow saves everything. But here's the catch. Overflow doesn't beat carrying costs or strict appraisals. When taxes, insurance, and HOAs bulk up, the monthly becomes the bouncer at the door. If the bank won't bless the number, the deal doesn't walk in. You could watch the signals line up like a bad weather radar. Days on market rising in tandem, concessions stacking, months free, parking tossed in, amenity fees waived, under appraisals snipping off the top end, cap rates stretching because rent growth cooled while risk stayed hot. Different towns, same sheet music. On the coast, luxury tried to buy time with perks. Inland, appraisers pulled comps back to earth, and lenders made everyone show their work. 2 levers, 1 outcome, sellers give, or properties sit. That's the split screen. So here's the mechanism in plain English. Excess supply up top meets an affordability ceiling down below, and lender discipline locks the gate in the middle. The result is a cascading reset. Like a traffic jam that starts with one brake tap in the fast lane and ripples miles back, each slowdown forces the next car to hit the brakes harder. Watch how one city's price cut becomes the next city's comp. There's a lag, then a snap. A discount in a tower drags a townhome down the road, which drags a cape 2 exits over. The chain writes itself. Mini payoff. 2026 isn't a collapse. It's a reset to payments that match paychecks. Action time, track fees, DOM, concessions, and appraisal gaps. Because what you watch next decides whether you catch the bottom or buy the top. Here's the thing. The market didn't break. It recalibrated. The coast sneezed, the corridor caught a cold, and the cure is boring math. Payments have to fit paychecks. Let that sink in. You want the edge? Track the monthly, not the list. Watch fees, DOM, concessions, and appraisals like you watch your screen time. When those lines flatten, you're close. Like this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe because someday you'll want to escape. Or at least buy smart. Would you buy in any of these 10 if the payment penciled? Comment math wins or vibes only. That's it for today. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more updates you won't want to miss.